Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Salsa Tequila TV. I'm your host, and yes, I'm also the wife of Salsa. Today on this podcast, we're gonna do things very differently. It's super casual, super light. We're just gonna talk about Salsa shit posts on Twitter. So no formalities, just good conversation. And beside me here today is my husband, Salsa Tequila himself, on X. So since this is our first episode, do you want to talk to your audience about how you even get into crypto?
Sure. First of all, it's funny to hear you call me Salsa. And second, to your question, I used to gamble on video games back in high school, and that's how I got into Bitcoin around 2013. I never had seen it as an investment, never had significant holdings at the time, and unfortunately, I made stupid mistakes and gambled most of everything, most if not everything away. I became very interested in markets when I seen the potential in 2016 and 17 in the bullish market. There was the Ethereum ICO at the time. I think I bought one or two around $50, and I got super excited when I seen it pump to 3x over the course of a month. So I've always paid attention since, kind of traded, and in 2017 I made my first big cycle mistake, which was making a lot of money and losing everything back. Essentially what happened is as the price went up, I started believing more, I started wanting more exposure, reading the white papers at the tops, and bag holding everything minus 99% over and over. Late 2018, I was still paying attention. I took a leap of faith and I decided that I would try to trade full time. I had seen the potential of this market previously, and I thought it was a good gamble. Essentially, I was risking 2 years of my life, and I would go back to university if it doesn't work. And if it works out, great, I'm ahead financially. And luckily, it turned out quite well. I joined a prop firm at the time, which kind of justified me dropping out of uni for some kind of more formal job rather than being in my parent basement trading crypto. I kind of moved to an apartment and actually went to the office and learned from some professionals. So being well surrounded was a big aspect of it, and I've worked with that prop shop ever since. I still work with them. It's been a great journey, and I have no regrets taking that chance.
Yeah, I think that's very relatable for most of the people here in this space. Most of us here started out really young, so the responsibility that comes later part in life isn't a burden to us yet. So we could really try out this industry, and if anything goes south, like you said, we could easily go back to university. Anyway, a quick disclaimer before we start. Everything discussed on Salsa Tequila TV podcast is not financial advice. Always do your own research and know the risk involved. Also, if you're enjoying our company so far, be sure to subscribe to Salsa Tequila TV on Spotify, and we are also on YouTube. This podcast will be a weekly affair, so if you'd like to come on the show and have a coffee chat, feel free to slide into the DMs. You said you were already in back in 2017, so this cycle makes it your third bull cycle.
Correct. Third time's the charm. I
Knock
do
on woods.
knock on woods. Yes, take along and go for a bike ride for a few 100 kilometers. No, seriously, I think first cyclers tend to make the most of the bull run. They have that naive lack of baggage from the drawdowns in the bear markets, and they tend to also lose everything back. So they make the most on the way up and they lose the most on the way down. That's what happened to me in 2017. And the second and third cyclers tend to come in and they're more ahead. They stay ahead after the bear market is set and done. They kind of learn the mistakes of the bear market, but maybe they have a little skepticism slash trauma from the previous cycle. And that's what happened to me in 2021. I did not outperform as much, but I did quite well and I retained some of my value in the bear market. So it was a less stressful experience with less crazy ups and downs. And I hope to make the best of this third cycle as well. Hopefully, I don't get wrecked in the bear market.
So being a third cycler this round and being around for the past two cycle, what are your feelings about BTC rallying into the 90K?
I believe that BTC rallying so fast is a response to the Trump administration win. It was going to all-time high regardless, I think. whether Democrats or Republicans won the elections. It's just that Trump administration winning catalyzed that upside much faster. So if the Democrats won, maybe we would have dipped and then went higher later. I also think that the big elephant in the room is not so much that Trump won and whether he delivers on his promises or not, but it's more so that the Democrats lost and they were extremely anti-crypto. People in the crypto industry were kind of under attack by Gary Gensler, chair of the SEC. So all their coins were kind of, we see it with XRP pumping now. Basically, the crypto industry kind of felt like it was a criminal industry, and also you had those heavily anti-crypto senators like Elizabeth Warren who are not in the picture anymore, or soon to be fired, let's say. So I think if you look at the last cycles as an analogy, you kind of just buy the dips and you assume it's going higher. And since the Trump administration won, the ceiling is higher. If Kamala Harris administration had won, the upside would be maybe a little less high in the short term in the presidency.
How long do you think this bull run will actually run?
I think it can easily continue for many months, maybe 6 months. I will be looking at different metrics like the funding rates, the futures premium to gauge the euphoria level rather than trying to sell a specific price point, because I think giving price target, let's say, okay, at 100K I sell, the danger is that it just runs over and it goes to 200K. Last cycle, one metric that I looked at was the Deribit futures premium. So when Bitcoin was at 65K, Deribit futures traded at around 85Ks at the peak. So this can gauge the euphoria level in a more objective method. I think that those premiums can rise to 25 to 35% quite easily. Another thing that's changed this cycle is the depth of the dip. So in 2017, the dip were closer to 30 to 40%. There were many of them. 2021, you don't see this kind of dip as much. You see mostly 10 to 20% less frequent dips. I think as the market matures, it's bigger. There's ETFs, there's different player, more liquidity. It's safe to assume that any dip close to 10% is an opportunity to buy as we're in the bullish market. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, so you're saying that in 2017, the market was way more volatile, do you think? And those larger dips comes more along the way?
Yes, it was more volatile, which explains those larger dips. It was illiquid. So let's say you take the market cap of Bitcoin, its magnitude's bigger now than it was at the time. There's 1 billion of inflows on the ETF every other day. Back in the day, you have a 1 billion inflow when Bitcoin was $1,000. It would already pump from 1K to 7K. So it was like one of the lower market caps that you see on the first page of CoinGecko at the time. That was Bitcoin. Another difference that we see this cycle compared to the one before would be the amount of coins that there is. Now there is way too many altcoins that are mainly dominated by VC cabals that capture the upside privately. So when they launch on the exchanges, essentially what happened is they launch at high valuation, which is the low market cap, high FDV kind of repetition that we see. Yeah, exactly. So
they dump.
So they launch and they start dumping because they launch at a crazy, fully diluted valuation, and they kind of hedge that, and retail gets wrecked. So this is kind of the hypocrisy that we see repeated over and over. The tech is often false promises, and people kind of catch up to it, and they got sick of it, which explains the memes hot trend as of recently. People basically said, screw this hypocrisy of being told false promises that really has never delivered and being dumped on by VCs. We're just gonna buy meme coins, and at least we're not getting lied to, and we know we're playing the casino lottery roulette, but there's no pretense.
So you talk about meme coins, and we see Pepe and Doge having a massive move on their price. Did you manage to catch them actually?
No, I haven't caught those. I try to stay away from high market cap meme coins. I feel like I got no edge. At least that's what I realized recently.
Okay, so he lost money, guys.
Yes, but basically, my realization is that you don't want to long the multi-billion-dollar meme coin after it launched on Coinbase and Robinhood. You want to buy before the listings. So the best odds that you can get in meme coins is from the trenches. You basically buy coins that have some kind of community and some potential for listings. And you buy when the market cap is very low and it's difficult to access it, so that you have a higher chance to be early and to get the 10 to 100x.
So you're saying that I am doing a good job right now?
Yes, for those who are not aware, I sent my wife,
Money.
who's next to me and interviewing me, some ETH to buy some meme coins on Base, because her network of friends were kind of aping into those coins. One of them recently was Ski, I believe, which is a dog coin
on
Base, and I think she did a 2x on that.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's way better odds than playing on leverage with some 2 billion market cap meme coin like BONK.
I guess your BONK trade didn't go so well, but back to what you said about me going to Base, a lot of people are like, why am I so bullish on Base? Actually, it's pretty simple. Base is developed by Coinbase, and Coinbase has a big following of retail traders. I see a lot of people around me, retail, like my friends, they are looking at their portfolio and watching Doge rise from the dead. And like you said, retail right now, they don't really care about those other altcoins that were listed with big FTV, and they just get dumped on. So now with their Doge earnings, they just feel like, you know what? I'm just gonna put into those stock meme coins, and that gives like higher upside in terms of potential than getting dumped on and being a VC exit liquidity. And back to Base, I just feel like it's a safer bet, and they're definitely worth keeping an eye on.
So what were the other factors that made you want to be part of this meme cycle?
Well, I like to go to events, and you're completely opposite of me. So recently I attended a crypto event, and one thing I always try to do is keep my ears open when I'm there and just listening to what people is talking about. I can pick up like bits of information here and there, and when you start piecing this information together, you kind of get a sense of where things are headed. But of course, my backs are really my educated guess. People might have other different views. So always do your own research and never go all in. One thing that really sets me and you apart, if you guys haven't noticed, Salsa is highly skeptical. He's the most skeptic I've met in my life. And for me, I'm naive and optimistic. So I think there's a good balance for both our portfolio because it gets more diversified. At the end of the day, we're just praying and hoping those meme coins get listed and maybe even pop off.
Yes, so get yourself a wife who's extremely optimistic and get her to ape into meme coins.
Such a nice way to say that I'm a degen, but yeah, okay.
So back to the meme coin questions. Why dog memes specifically? Why not cats, frogs, and hippos?
Okay, I'm allergic to cats, and we have a dog. Our dog is super friendly and nice, so I feel like I have more affinity with dogs. I'm just hoping that we hit the bingo streak with the coins that I'm in. And at the same time, I don't feel like we are at the top of this meme cycle. I feel like we have just getting started, and hopefully I am not a top signal, because if I am, you should just start shorting right now. But even you said that you're not into memes, you did went into BONK, didn't you?
Yeah, those were terrible.
Terrible?
I think you've seen my P&L. I didn't share it on Twitter, of course, but I lost a bunch of money on... Basically, I made a bunch on Bitcoin, ETH, and SOL, and then I lost some of it back trading BONK and POPCAT. So what happened is just another trade, really, but there's a lesson there. I bought BONK, first of all, thinking it would break all-time high, and as soon as I bought, I think there's something with like the open interest that I move when I bought a certain size, and the market immediately started slow grinding against me, and it really messes with your brains because there's no liquidity that much. I ended up slowly scaling out for a small loss, and it was very painful. It took me the whole day, and it was not nice. So never try to buy without some kind of alpha. And then for the PopCat, I'm actually still in on the small size, but I didn't play as big as the BONK trade. And the reason for BONK was purely because I thought it would run through ATH like Moondang did the same day, and it kind of didn't. And even when it broke all-time high, it immediately retraced. So it did completely the opposite of what I thought it would do when it breaks. And then for POPCAT, the reason I bought a little bit is because I think eventually there's a good chance it gets listed on Coinbase, maybe Robinhood, and we've seen what happened with Pepe. So you want to front run the listing. So I think there's a little bit of potential. If you keep a small size and you cannot get liquidated, maybe playing it wide, you can catch a good 2x, assuming it really goes through to the Coinbase listing. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking out. I don't exactly know if I have a big edge or not, so I would not recommend playing big this kind of play. And it's already a 2 billion FDV, so I'm not exactly sure it's my best trade. So I keep collateral to trade Bitcoin, Sway, ETH, those things that I've been making money on. And I'm just trying to be a bit more patient on PopCat and see if it works out. I'll update you on X if I take a loss or if it ends up getting listed in the coming weeks.
Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye out on your X account, and hopefully you don't lose all the university funds for our kid on a BONK trade, you know?
Yeah,
And
maybe if you see a 500k loss PNL, then that means it
it's over.
dumped from 2 bill to 1 bill FDV, and I'm wrecked.
Yeah, it's over. Okay, well, enough of some meme coins. There are some other trades that aren't meme coins that also didn't do so well. These are the L1s that didn't perform as well as we thought they would against BTC this cycle, given that Bitcoin moves so much and rarely. Could you go into detail? Maybe let's just start with Ethereum performance this rally.
Sure. So ETH actually outperformed on the election day itself, and I interpreted it as a signal that the Trump administration was good and bullish for Ethereum. And that was very unfortunate because it then fully retraced. I think today it's back to the origin of the pump. So it went like something around plus 12% against BTC and then back down to the same point it started the pump from. So luckily, I mean, in terms of pure price, it's still up from 2.5k to more than 3k, but it underperformed Bitcoin pretty massively, and that's been a big disappointment. I still made money trading it simply because ETH is quite liquid. It's easy to define risk, and I tend to do well in those kind of markets. So trading it purely has been very good. Polar opposite of BONK and PopCat so far.
Yeah.
So it's been good to trade it, but the bag that I've been invested in forever and has underperformed massively the entire market has not been fun.
So you're ETH maxi now.
I still think it has a good chance of kicking in. Maybe by summer 2025, if it doesn't massively outperform by then, I'm out. But I could see ETH at 5 figures pretty easily. I mean, all-time high is around 4.4k if I recall correctly. We're at 3.2 right now. Everything kind of pops to all-time high. I think after Bitcoin settles down a bit, ETH can catch up, and that's what I hope for. Maybe it never happens and I have to take a loss in summer. That would be very unfortunate, but I think it's the kind of trade that you want to give a few more months.
Yeah. ETH also weren't the L1 token that disappointed us this rally, right? We have Solana as well.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on Solana?
Well, first of all, back to ETH, I want to add that there might be there's a few catalysts that I look for. The first one is the ETF flows having some kind of uptick and the market being very reflexive and finding other narratives such as ESG friendly coin. And the other one is the potential for a staking ETF, which was previously declined in the Biden administration, but I think Gary Gensler recently got fired. So there is potential for that. And I believe if there's a staking ETF, it's a completely different game for ETH. Now, as for Solana, the correlation with ETH is that basically since the election, it outperformed on the day of the election, and similar to ETH, it fully retraced the pump. So they both seem to correlate in pain for the holders in underperformance since the election day.
Yeah. Even though some of the trades for Ethereum and Solana didn't really work out for you, were there any other obvious L1 trades that you took perform well? Like you did mention Sui just now, right?
Yeah, only Sway worked for me. Actually, I tried a few ones. Mostly, I'm pretty good at cutting my losses on those. If I keep it small, it's quite easy to cut. And only Sway really paid multiple times, which is normal because it's one of the only coins in price discovery in terms of the best tech. as the narrative. And
why do you think so?
so my reason that I was longing Sway actually was because I had a meeting with a friend who's a developer, and he was telling me that Sway is one of his only holdings, and the reason for that is because he built around and he played around with different protocols, and he found out that Sway is just the best and superior. And at that time, I think Sway just had entered price discovery, so I put 2 plus 2 together, and I started longing on dips basically. And since then, it's been paying. I think 3 times I cut major dips and ran them up plus 30%. So I keep it quite small, but it pumps so hard that you don't need to play big to get paid, and it's really not stressful to hold. So it's been a great coin to just buy the dips and wait for some upside. I don't know how long this tendency will work, but I could see some more room for growth. So I think that the moral for that is you want to buy really the strong coins, the market leaders, the coins that are already in price discovery. Since I stopped focusing too much on ETH and started being open to those coins in price discovery, trading BTC, trading Sway, namely, maybe a little momentum on Dogecoin, my trading improved simply because they're the most forgiving coins. They're literally printing all-time high every other day. So if you're underwater for a bit, it tends to go back in your direction more than not. So obviously, I use stop losses. It's unfortunate if you get stopped out in an uptrend, but you can always have another trade the next day. So I would recommend people to, if they're actively trading, trade the coins that are in price discovery and that are market leaders in their sectors.
What about Cardano and XRP? What are your thoughts on those two?
I think that XRP was one of the coins that got the most hammered by the SEC. So actually, when the Trump administration won, it was the most obvious trade. In hindsight, I say this, I did not catch it, so I'm quite pissed at myself. I think I heard Avi Feldman talk about it many months ago, like way before the election in the podcast, that, hey, if Gary Gensler gets out, you want to long all the coins that the SEC hammered the most. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And in terms of Cardano, I think it's some overblown rumors of Charles Hopkinson advising Donald Trump administration, and every cycle somehow there's some Cardano mania. Like I remember going to the bars in 2021, and I would hear some people in the queue to enter that they were buying more Cardano because it's going to infinity. So it's those coins that are kind of a mystery to me. There's like a whole entire universe that I'm not aware of who's bullish on Cardano. So I think that explains why they're leading right now. Now, whether or not there's more upside, I think we will see. But I would definitely not fade those markets by shorting it. I think shorting is prohibited in this environment.
It's really nice to hear the thought process of an experienced trader like yourself. And this is also a reminder to listeners that experienced trader like Salsa himself still makes a lot of mistakes. So, before we end this episode, could you quickly give our audience some tips that you live by throughout these years of trading? Because you've been trading for how many years now?
Sure. I've been trading since 2017, essentially. So my top 5 tips, and maybe instead of giving tips, I will give the mistakes to avoid. So my top 5 bull run mistakes, because of the environment we're in, it's applicable to this bull run, I believe. So the first one is selling too early. This thing can last for many months. You don't want to chicken out and then it keeps going on much, much higher for the next 5 months. You want to have some kind of fraud indicator like the Deribit futures edge or whatever it is that you use. You want to hold on to the trend for a while, basically, because these things, they probably just started. The second mistake is shorting the market. You don't want to get caught offside. It doesn't forgive. The forgiving side is the long side. So shorting probably a recipe for disaster for your margin account, unless you have some kind of alpha that is unknown to the other market participants, which is very unlikely. You would definitely know exactly what your alpha is if you have such alpha. Being FOMO driven is the third one. Instead of focusing on lucky entries, when I joined the prop shop, the boss there kept repeating lucky entries, likely exits. I believe that in the bull market, in trading, the most important is the entry. So you need to wait for the market to come to you and give you your entry. It's similar to, let's say, the way the casino operates. The casino waits for someone to bet against them and give them the odds. They don't go to the players and start gambling against them. They wait for the players to gamble against them while giving them the odds. So you need to wait for the entry, similar to the casino waits for the gamblers to bet against them. The point number 4 would be not using stops. A lot of people say don't use stops, it's a bull market, but the reality is if your account gets blown out, if you don't apply proper risk management, you risk a catastrophe. You could get completely liquidated and miss out on the entire bull run because of this stupid mistake. So it also comes back to my point number 3, which was lucky entries. Lucky entries with decent stop loss, and then you just hold for a while and you let the market pay you. It should go well. And then the mistake number 5 is not being curious and industrious. You need to try protocol, send a few ETH to your wife to ape on base meme coins. NFTs, I missed out in 2021 completely because I was not open to it. Maybe things like
skeptical
protocols, you can literally just farm hyper liquid points. I mean, not anymore, but those kind of opportunities, they come and they cost almost nothing, just your time. So be curious, try stuff around, talk to people. There's a lot of opportunities out there that are in different sectors, and there's so many sectors in crypto, you can't keep up with all of them possibly. So talk to people.
Okay, just now you mentioned FOMO driven entries. I think the biggest mistake they make is going in with size that they cannot handle and not using stops. They want some exposure, but at the same time they get greedy with the market.
So I mean, if you see the market going up a lot and you buy on high leverage, it's highly likely that there's a small pullback that liquidates you. And that's what we see over and over. That's why you see Bitcoin go to 91K and back to 89K, and there's a lot of long liquidations. People get greedy. They see the market go up, they feel like they're missing out, and that's exactly what happens. They have FOMO-driven trades on high leverage and they get liquidated. So rather than doing that, you wait for the market to come back a bit lower, then your upside is higher because obviously if it dips 10%, you buy at a little better price. Let's say dip 5 to 10% on Bitcoin. It already happened a few times. I think I've seen 2 major dips of 7 to 8% on Bitcoin since last week. So it happens pretty quickly. When you see those dips, you want to just show bids, wait for the market to pay you when it goes back to all-time high. And this is the tendency that we've been in.
Yeah. And for me, I came across Cryptocrat tweet recently. He said, and I quote, "Act as if you just joined the market, unburdened by what has been." This is very applicable to my circumstance, given that I'm a bear market mama and very busy with our son. So coming back during this rally after stepping out of the market for a few months has brought me a fresh set of attitude towards this cycle. And obviously very, very different from Salsa's, because the first thing I did is to tell him to like, yo, send me ETH, I'm gonna ape into base meme coins. So, this episode has been really fun, and we are looking forward to what the market has to offer in the next few weeks and months. Remember to always keep some bullets. You never know when you need them. Again, everything discussed on this podcast is not financial advice. Do your own research and know the risk involved. If you are looking to have a casual chit chat with Salsa on SalsaTekilaTV next week, we are happy to have you on. This is going to be a weekly podcast, so drop us a DM and we'll see you next week.